Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. Tilray Brands. We've got the earnings for Tilray Brands coming up on this show in exactly half an hour. The numbers should be out now. Let me see what we're doing and have we beaten. I'm not showing the numbers at the moment. What are we going to do? Tilray Brands consistently beat on earnings, but it doesn't really go anywhere, just goes sideways. Will they beat tonight? Does it make a difference? Well, it doesn't actually. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. What's important is whether Irwin Simon can draw some light onto the policy change from Trump. That's the only thing that matters tonight. Everything else, like we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to buy more breweries, none of that is of any interest to me at all. I want to know when we're going to get and how you're going to adapt to reclassification. So we are waiting. The stock is now moving, as you can see. Now, this is a perfect example of what not to do unlike what we've been doing all day or the last month with Coca-Cola. Tilray Brands is a story, no more than that. It's not a good business until it makes money. It makes money, but until we get reclassification and it adopts to that policy change, it doesn't mean anything. Now, you may remember a few weeks ago, the stock was down and it popped up because Donald Trump said he's going to reclassify. Well, he didn't reclassify. He just signed an executive order. And everybody got really excited. And I said, don't. I said, it can go to $100 with reclassification. That doesn't mean a public display signing a bit of paper. I mean, actual voted through Congress. You can't just sign it and it's done. It's a law. It's got to come into law. And not only that, it has to then go through the financial courts because rescheduling has to then apply to the way they're funded and everything else. And then Tilray Brands have to be able to adapt to that as well. Now, they're all ready, but it's not something you do overnight. So I said, this can go to $100, but don't just jump on in because it will dump, because everybody's underwater. Even the board themselves are selling shares. Erwin Simon's always fighting with the board. I know that. I get it direct from board members. So at the end of the day, the stock is all over the place. And that's just gambling. So this is very opposite of a good business structure of what we've been doing today with Coca-Cola. And that's how I've made 14.5 grand in one day. This is gambling. We don't gamble. So we don't take $14,000 we've made because we put the work in and then just throw it up in the air because this is a good story. It's a great story, but it's a story. Stories don't make any money. Stories without fundamentals don't mean anything. So anyway, what we're waiting now is to learn more. All right. So the call is in 26 minutes. We're ready to go. All right. The numbers are probably out, but I'm not seeing them anywhere. Now, I can go and look if I go into the investor pages and read through it all, but I can't be bothered, to be quite honest. I'm a bit lazy and tired today. So I'm just waiting for it to be given to me because I'm lazy. But that's okay. Here is Tilray Brands Q2 preview. Bottom line weakness to persist, but reclassification offers hope. Exactly. Hope. This is some news we had just out a few hours ago. If you want this, you can get this news. This is Seeking Alpha. Tilray Brands is expected to post a loss in its second quarter, and it'll be the first time it does. So this will be really bad. I also said I think it's going to be a loss. You may remember on the show this morning, my calculations would point to a loss, but what do I know? Earnings scheduled for January 8th after a closing bell. However, it's likely to see a margin improvement in revenue. Wall Street estimates in Canadian cannabis player to post EPS of negative 14 cents. The revenue consensus stand at 211 million, 211.15 million, representing a 0.1 year-on-year improvement. It's not going anywhere, and it won't go anywhere. All right, until we get real change. And real change is very complex, takes time, doesn't happen overnight. But that doesn't stop people buying it just to pump and dump it. So I'm still looking out for the numbers if it gives it to me, but I would not just be buying this because it's exciting. Yes, it pops up, but unlike Coca-Cola that popped up today, I can now enjoy 6 grand a quarter in dividends and I don't have to sell. Whereas this has no value. At the moment, there's no value anyway. So over the last 2 years, Tilray has beaten EPS 75% of the time and has beaten revenue estimates 38% of the time. However, as per Zacks Equity Research, the company may not continue to trend this quarter. Exactly. My models said this would be different, that they would miss on earnings. That would be very, very different. Anyway, let's see if they do. They have projected Tilray's quarterly earnings to project underlying weakness, including a margin pressure across core segments. The company's overall margins have been facing pressures due to weak margins in the beverage and cannabis segments. It noted craft brands and spirits businesses have also faced ongoing challenges, Zacks added. Although the beverage segment has been soft, impacted by ongoing SKU rationalization, the company is focused on its turnaround. It is making progress against the beer integration, optimizing strategy and Project 420 initiative. Management sees potential for the beverage category based on the diversification of offerings and the superior products with improved operations, leveraged acquired brands, and supporting performance. Right, back to the stock. The stock is moving, but doesn't mean anything. Can everyone please tap the like button? Because if you do, it will share it out to more people. And if you're new here, you might want to consider subscribing. We're here to help people to be the most honest channel on YouTube TV. This is my real money, my real shares. I have contacts with many CEOs. I bring them live on the show. I'm here to help people. I was voted by Elton John as the world piano man. I'm not here to sell you anything. Our training courses are provided for free in the newsletter. It's a free perk. We're just here to help people, right? We don't ask for custodian money or anything like that. And as you can see from my trades, I don't lose because I have the information directly from the sources and I share it with you. Anyway, Tilray Brands is moving. Have we beaten on earnings? I don't think so, but let's have a look. Makes a difference. Very much a speculative gamble stock. People will just buy it regardless. Now, if I interrupt the broadcast tonight, I am watching my home in Cornwall. We're under a severe storm in the UK, right over my house. So I'm literally watching my cameras and all the rest of it. So I just want you to know that if you do see me sort of looking at my house, there's a serious, like the worst. We've never had a red alert over Cornwall ever. In living memory. So it's quite serious what's going on at the moment. So I'm paying close attention to my house. All right. So I know that's a bit weird that I'm sitting doing that, but there you go. This is a real show, right? Stuff really happens for real. It's a major storm. I'm glad I actually, I'm glad I got my roof and fence fixed, because it would have been a bloody nightmare tonight if I hadn't done so. Right, so I'm keeping my eye on the house as well, all right? Just so you know. Yeah. Looking outside my front door at the moment. And it's going to get busy in the next 3 hours. But yeah, the house is looking good at the moment. That's good. Don't want my house to fall over. It's built of stone, so it's not going anywhere. The English roofs last a lifetime, so it's not going anywhere. Right. Tilray Brands, 20 minutes ago. They've beaten on earnings. They've beaten on by 0.01 cent. Okay. They've beaten on earnings by 0.01. So I guess because people are expecting it to miss, that's why it's rallying. But it's lower than the last 3 quarters. So this is going to dump. It's going to dump because Erwin Simon cannot say anything to encourage anyone today. Of course, he'll try to do so. That's his job. But it's not good. It's beaten on earnings by the smallest possible amount, the worst amount in the last 2 years that I'm looking at. So it's a pump and dump again. So I would not be buying this tonight. But anyway, let's see. I really would not. I'm not going to buy it because I just think it's a gamble right now. Anyway, let's have a look. Let's listen in to Tilray Brands. We've got 15 minutes. In a few moments, exactly on the 1:15, this screen will update. You'll see it live on the screen. There's the audio. There it goes. Look. My God, it's like bloody. It's just. It's like predicting the sun's going to come up, isn't it? It's like bloody obvious. But people don't care. They don't care about this information. They just go on momentum. Buy it, boys. It's a gamble stock. Anyway, this is Tilray Brands. In a few moments, they might change the way that looks. They often do at 1:15. So be careful, folks. I wouldn't buy this. You're not going to get any news on Donald Trump today. He'll mention it, of course, to try to put some rah-rah in that the government are moving that way, but they're not doing it yet. And they're not. There it goes. There you go. Look at that. I know what you're going to say. He was right again. Yeah. There'll be a few up pumps and dumps. People will buy, people will sell, people will buy, people will sell. You don't want to be kept holding the bag. You don't want to be kept holding the bag. Okay? Until you get reclassification, until you can actually make some money, you're just gambling. And if you want to gamble, that's fine, but you got better chance of buying red and winning on red. To me, that's not investing anyway, but there you go. The numbers. You know, if you want to look at numbers, that's what looking at numbers looks like. 14.5 grand in a day. It's trimmed off a little bit since then, and now I'm earning 6 grand a quarter in dividends. That's studying, that's picking up the phone, that's talking to people. Now I'm talking directly to Coca-Cola as well. So that's what that is. Whereas this is gambling. And if you want to gamble, no problem with that. Some people enjoy it. They find it entertaining and fun. I don't. I don't see anything good about gambling. Anyway, we got 15 minutes to go. Just watching my house. I've got all sorts of issues. I've got stuff not connecting at the moment. Anyway. Right, Tilray Brands, we got 1 minute to go. This might change. In 1 minute, this might change. Let's have a little listen. That's the little presentation. Just make sure the audio is coming through. But a very small beat, but I wouldn't be focusing on that at all. Let's see what Erwin Simon says to this, shall we? Anyway, in 1 minute, it should change. It might not change. This is their presentation now, but they sometimes, all companies, when you're 15 minutes before the call, they sometimes upgrade what you're seeing. This has been here for hours, and then at 15 minutes before, they sometimes change it. We'll see. All right, 30 seconds, you'll see if they do it. Not everyone does it, but very often they do. Right. Are you ever planning to have a conference event with Lucas family in Texas? Yeah. You mean a convention when we all get together? Yeah. Yes, I will. We do it once a year. We met in England, in Cornwall. Then last year we met in Dallas, near Dallas. Right, here we go. Let's see if it changes. Right. It's now 1:15. Let's have a little look. No, they're going with this. All right, they're going with this. All right. They're going with this. So Tilray Brands has popped back up again. Up, down, up, down. I wouldn't buy it. The beat was whatever, but they can't give you any news. So to me, it's not a buy. You can buy it and it can rally up 300%. I mean, it could go anywhere, but then you're left holding the bag. And I just don't, that's not what I do. I try to help people focus on winning through good business decisions, not gamble. It's not Martyn Lucas Gambler. If you want Martyn Lucas Gambler, go and watch Omar. He'll tell everybody to buy FFIE and stuff like that, which is bankrupt because they can pump and dump it themselves because it's got no value at all. I mean, stupid, but some people like that stuff. They think it's entertaining. All right, we got 40 minutes. Let's go to comments and questions in the chat. Let's have a little look. Hey Vaz is dope. Yes, Vaz does a great show. Any news on Archer? Casey, congratulations to your first show. Good job, says Vaz. Vaz, I don't know why I've never asked this. I can't believe I've never found this out. What does VAS 0.28 mean? What's V28? Is it secret code? What's the 28 for? Ryden, agreed. Is Banana Heads getting a guy thing? We don't use it here. Just asking, says Liz. Gaming. Unfortunately, isn't my gamer tag. Someone else snatched it up before and started using it, but I definitely tried. Ninja Cowboy. Archie will be using NVIDIA chips to develop their... Yes, this is good. That's the latest. Nice, Vaz, thank you. Can't trade Archer and Joby. Must change broker. Wow, they will be wild on the coming rally. Liz, better find a new brokerage. Wouldn't recommend it. A new one or add another one. Agree. Well, I own 88 shares of Evtol, says Liz. The Banana Heads is like 2 years old. There was a troll coming in the chat back in the time around the swan song of Fisker. The troll called Martyn a banana head. Oh, there it was. Well, that's nice, isn't it? Why did you pick that up then? A troll called me a banana head, so you thought you'd go with that. All right then, that's nice. Yeah, and I loved it. Yeah, I can see that. Oh, I see, Vaz. Yeah, what's up, banana heads is awesome. Yeah, lazy. The troll said, "Why aren't you talking about Fisker, you banana head?" The troll's name was Big Linda. Big Linda. Yeah. Now I got the point. Thanks. Was asking for months. Bum, 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 bum. That's interesting. I'm just watching my house in the storm. Oh my God, 10%. Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything though, does it? Unless you can get out. Remember, just because the price goes up doesn't mean you can sell it for that price. Like says Vaz, what does your house look like if you don't mind me asking? It's a little cottage by the sea. It's made of stone. And I've been living in there for 40 years. Tilray will go up maybe 200% next month. There's no reason for that, human rights. You're just guessing. I told you before, I'd rather buy Tilray Brands for $40, knowing it's going to 100 than guessing. Simple as that. And at the moment, it's just people are just guessing. And that's not gambling. Remember, if you consistently win and don't lose, you'll always outperform everybody. The pubs were on a chart alert in Cornwall when we met up with Martyn and Sensei. The pubs were on a red alert. yeah, I like that. That's funny, I like that one. English roofs made of chopsticks, LOL. You haven't seen a German or Czech roof yet. Get out of it. Means the never comes up if they crash. I'm not sure what that means. Thank you, Yestin. Yeah, it's a very, very small beat though, isn't it? Are you ever planning to have a conference event? Yeah, I answered that one already. Yeah. Puff, says Terry Rose. I think it's gambling. It is gambling. View on silver and gold, please. Oh, we're running again now. We got, oh my gosh, now it's dangerous. Now it's dangerous. It's a very small B, and there'll be no news about Donald Trump, and people are getting all excited. This is what's called momentum trading a trend that doesn't really exist. You know, it's a very small business. Pump it up, dump it on everybody. I mean, that's not investing at all. Aha, who's that? Thank you, Vaz. Tilray will go up. Great. Version 28. Yeah, version 28. 28 kills. Vaz 28 is back from my adult movie career. It's my sports number. What sports number? 28? What do you mean? I like Banana Man. I'm changing my YouTube tag to Big Linda. I use it when a username is claimed, so I add 28 to it. I'd love a reg plate V28 or VAS28, but I'm not paying $4,000 for it. I'll sell you A1 ml if you want. I've also got X1 ml and I've got S1 ml. Do you want that? Opinion on US rare earths and mineral companies. Opinion on US. I can't go into that right now, Garrett. I have to focus on what we've got coming up. We've only got 8 minutes to go. So unfortunately, I can't focus on that. Yeah, so football, ice hockey. Oh, I see. You play, that's your number, is it? When you play football and ice hockey, 28. Ah, why didn't I ask this before? I don't know why I never asked this. I should have asked this before. Right, we've got 7 minutes to go. Now then, who would like this? Vaz, I'm talking to you. Are you paying attention? KC, I'm talking to you. Are you paying attention? And is Sensei watching? If so, are you paying attention? It's earnings season. It starts today. Leah loves it. She loves when it's earnings season. It just means I work late at night. So earnings season. Very, very, very important earnings. They can be very, very popular shows. And some people find them boring. I find them interesting. But we've now discovered, KC and Vaz, we can go live at the same time. We've done it with 3 of us, Sensei, Vaz and me, all going live on the channel at the same time. We would like to see if we can go 4 broadcasts at the same time on the channel. So KC, next week or so, we can all pick a day if you fancy it, when there's some earnings, some good earnings, 4 earnings at once. We can do early in the morning, which is about 7:30 Central Time. That probably wouldn't work for Vaz and Sensei. It might work for you and me, but wouldn't work for them. But this time in the evening works for Sensei. It works for Vaz. It works for me, and it could work for you. So this time, 3:30 Central, 9:30 in the UK. How about we choose a day when there are 4 earnings and we all broadcast an earnings? So basically, you see, I'm sitting here with the chart. KC, you know how to do that. And then you share a screen. You've got audio. You're capturing the audio, and we're playing Tilray Brands. That's it. And we can sit here and just listen to it. That's all I do. And then add some commentary at the end if you want. But essentially, we're just broadcasting, listening to it. So it's like watching the telly. You just watch the telly and broadcast it. And I want to see if we can do 4 broadcasts at once. So people could be going, you know, Tesla, Microsoft, Google, and Apple all at the same time, going in and out. Can't do AM earnings unless it's vertical. That's right. Yeah. I can't do it unless it's one I really want to do. And then I'm available. So what do you think? You caught me. I wasn't paying attention. That's right. Are you paying attention now, Casey? So what do you think about it? Shall we do it sometime next week, the week after? One night when there's 4 earnings at this time, and we'll do 1 each at the same time. And the viewers can go, oh my God, there's Tilray, there's Microsoft, there's Google, there's Tesla. It'd be great, wouldn't it? Can you imagine? We'd have 1 billion views and 1 billion subscribers. Absolutely brilliant. Who's up for it? I'm up for it. Is it just me? I mean, I need Vaz, Sensei, and now I'm very clever. I can actually do 2 earnings at the same time. I can do 2. So I could do 2. So we could have 5 earnings going at the same time. I can definitely do 2. I can have 1 go to the extra channel. Yes, I can do 2. So we could have 10 earnings a day. 10 live earnings a day. Think about it. Mental, right? Okay, 4 minutes to go. So what do you make of that, Casey? Go do something. Go do something, says Liz. Maybe wrong, short term, long term, no way. All right, okay, here we go. So we've got 3 minutes to go. Let me refresh the screen, make sure we're all good. With earnings, you've always got to refresh it. You never know if things have gone wrong. Things go wrong all the time, so you've got to check. There it is. There's the audio. Is it coming through? Yeah. Casey and Vaz never play the audio music because we get in trouble. We don't want any copyright So we don't do that. That's why it's on mute. The little mute here at the bottom of the screen on the broadcast, you just mute that, or you can mute it on your device. There's lots of ways you can do it. Now you're getting out of control. Absolutely. If we're going to go to 1 billion, we've got to do some work, Casey. You're part of the team now. It's time to get busy, mate. None of this once a week for an hour malarkey. Now we need you to like focus, buckle down, pull up your socks, get stuck in. All right. Oh, I think I've got a cup of tea. Latte. Oh, I really fancy a latte. Yeah. Look at this. We've got Vaz's mug. Vaz's mug. Who wants Vaz's mug? Look at that. Folk. Evtol Hub. Look at that. It's Vaz. It's bloody Vaz, everybody. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, good old Vaz. The Evtol Hub. Cheers, everybody. Oh, the Evtol Hub. The Evtol Hub's in town. There will be at least 3 Mag 7 earnings in one day again. Last quarter, it was 2 days when we had 2 or 3 Mag 7 stocks in one day. Now you're getting out of control. Martyn loves creating chaos. I love it. The viewers are going, I ain't got a clue. I can't watch 4 streams at once. Yeah, you can. Of course you bloody can. I've got 26 screens. 4 screens, you know. Just break little windows everywhere. Vaz in Paris, that's right. Right, here we go. 1 minute to go. Now, if you've watched earnings before, you know sometimes they can be a bit late. They can be up to, I think the longest one was about 20 minutes. But normally 1 or 2 minutes. They're very efficient. But yeah, you think they'd be on time, wouldn't you? You think like, you know, we're trying to ask you to give us your money. You think you'd be on time, wouldn't you? You'd think so, but that's not how it works. All right, 1 minute to go. I'm now going to unmute it and then mute it on my end so I can hear it, but you can't. There you go. Right. Now I can hear it, but you can't. And the purpose of that is I can monitor. I'm talking to KC and Vaz here. So I'm listening to it without it being broadcast for copyright reasons, but I can hear it. That way, the moment they start, I'm not pausing and unpausing, pausing and unpausing. I'm listening in. I've got the audio playing, but you can't hear it because I've got a nice directional microphone. Oh, I thought they were going to start then. Okay, they never start early. So 20 seconds to go. Everyone, tap the like button. Why have we only got 41 likes? There's 168. If you like Tilray Brands, share this out. More people will learn about Tilray Brands, which you would want, right, if you invest in them. I would have thought so anyway. Maybe not. Maybe you don't want anyone to know about the stock and just keep it down. Maybe you want to short the stock. I don't know. Right, okay. It's now time. So they could be live now at any moment. We're listening in. If you just tuned in, Tilray Brands, KC Vaz, keep informing your audience. We are waiting. We're listening in. I can hear it. That way they don't go somewhere else and go, Martyn doesn't know what he's doing. He's already started somewhere else and all that malarkey. All right. So I'm listening in. I can hear the audio. I'm just waiting for Tilray Brands to begin the call. I'm listening in, just waiting now. We can see the stock. Let me just mute that channel as well. We don't want that. We don't want any copyright over here. Let's say Adele, rolling in the deep. Oh yeah. You can't hear it, but they're playing Rolling in the Deep. It's very sexy, as you can see from my voice. Rolling in the deep. Oh yeah. Rolling in the deep. He'll be rolling in the deep in a minute when the stock sells back off again and everyone loses their money. Yeah, be rolling in the deep then. Right. So here we go. You see, they wanted to. I think it's terrible when these CEOs are late for their own earnings call. I mean, seriously, you've got investors who you want to spend billions of dollars with you, and yet you just go late. I think it's disgusting. I think earnings call should be to the second. You can't be early, but you should never be late, should you? Think about it. This is your only job. This is what you do. Report once a quarter to your investors, and you just can't be bothered. Just, we'll go late. There's no reason to go late. The figures are out. We can already read them. All you got to do is be bothered to turn the camera on or the microphone on and report. So, yeah, I find it rude. I really do. I find it actually rude when they just don't bother turning up. All right. Anyway, there it is. I just refreshed it just to make doubly sure, just in case. So stand by, Erwin Simon, whenever you want. Don't worry. It's only your investors that are watching. Go late. Don't worry about that. No one's bothered. It's madness, isn't it? Do you agree with me? Am I the only person who thinks this? If you're going to present to your investors, do you not think you should be on time? Am I the only person who thinks time is valuable? I do too, yeah. Let me know in the chat. Do you think it's wrong that a CEO broadcasts his earnings call late? I think it's rude. It's like, we're now 3 minutes late. It's probably fighting with the board. We've had the board selling their shares the moment it pops up. I've told you that before. I've had that direct. I know that actually happens. But anyway, there you go. So what do you think? Do you agree with me? Or am I just, it's live on Robinhood? No, it's not live on Robinhood. Okay, it's not live on Robinhood. They don't broadcast it. This is it. We're watching it. You're listening to it. You would be, look. There's the audio. Right? So, yeah, I think it's, so let's, yes, you're all saying yes, it's wrong. Yeah, well, doesn't weed make you lazy? Yeah, it does. I think it's terrible. I think it's absolutely disgusting. You're a CEO of a multi-million-dollar business and you go late. They all do it. The best one is Palantir. Alex Karp. He's great. He's a bit mental, but he's on time. Netflix, on time. Google, to the second. These are companies that are spot on. But others, they just go when they're ready. And they want you to give them their money. Here we go.
Thank you for joining today's conference call to discuss Tilray Brands' financial results for the second quarter fiscal year 2026, ended November 30th, 2025. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session for analysts to conduct via audio. Now I'll turn over the call to Mrs. Bren Narada, Tilray Brands' Chief Corporate Affairs and Communications Officer. Thank you. You may begin.
Thank you, operator, and good afternoon, everyone. By now, you should have access to the earnings press release, which is available on the investors section of the Tilray Brands website at tilray.com and has been filed with the SEC and SEDAR. Please note that during today's call, we will be referring to various non-GAAP financial measures that can provide useful information for investors. However, the presentation of this information is not intended to be considered in isolation or as a substitute for the financial information presented in accordance with GAAP. The earnings press release contains a reconciliation of each non-GAAP financial measure to the most comparable measure prepared in accordance with GAAP. In addition, we will be making numerous forward-looking statements during our remarks and in response to your questions. These statements are based on our current expectations and beliefs and involve known and unknown risks and uncertainties which may prove to be incorrect. Actual results could differ materially from those described in those forward-looking statements. The text in our earnings press release includes many of the risks and uncertainties associated with such forward-looking statements. Today, we will be hearing from key members of our senior leadership team, beginning with Erwin Simon, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, who will provide opening remarks and commentary, followed by Carl Merton, Chief Financial Officer, who will review our financial results for the second quarter of fiscal year 2026. And now I'd like to turn the call over to Tilray Brands Chairman and CEO, Erwin Simon.
Thank you very much, Baron, and good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining us today. We delivered a strong second quarter, marked by record results and a beat against analyst expectations in the face of strong headwinds. We recorded our highest ever Q2 net revenue of $218 million, achieved an adjusted EBITDA of $8.4 million, and a reported reverse stock split adjusted EPS loss of 2 cents, all while generating an adjusted cash operating income of $6 million. More importantly, the quality of our performance continues to improve. Highlights this quarter include a 51% sequential growth in the international cannabis revenue and a meaningful year-over-year improvement in both net income and free cash flow. We also continue to strengthen our balance sheet. We ended the quarter with approximately $292 million in cash and marketable securities and reduced our debt by approximately $4 million during Q2, leading to a strong net cash position, exceeding our debt by almost $30 million. In a rapidly evolving global cannabis regulatory environment, particularly in the U.S., our liquidity and balance sheet strength remains a clear strategic advantage. Today, Tilray operates more than 40 brands in more than 20 countries. We are a global leader in cannabis, trusted by patients, healthcare professionals, and regulators worldwide. We are the #1 cannabis producer in Canada by revenue, the 4th largest craft beer brewer in the United States, and a market leader in branded hemp wellness products across North America, where our high-protein hemp food portfolio holds nearly a 60% market share. Our Q2 results reinforces the momentum we discussed last quarter, improving fundamentals, sharper execution, and increasing leverage from our diversified global platform across cannabis, beverage, and wellness. Let's turn to our cannabis business, which is strategically positioned for its next phase of growth. While global cannabis markets continue to evolve, we believe the industry remains early in its long-term development cycle. The decision by President Trump to federally reschedule cannabis in the U.S. represents one of the most consequential regulatory shifts the industry has seen in decades. Thank you, President Trump, if you're listening today. This is a moment Tilray has been preparing for methodically for years. And guess what? We are ready to go. We believe that cannabis rescheduling to a Schedule III will lead the U.S. towards a federally compliant medical cannabis framework. Consistent with our other developed international markets, Tilray is positioned to act immediately. We already have the platform, regulatory experience, operating capabilities, and leadership team in place with Tilray Medical US to execute responsibly and to scale. Globally, Tilray Medical is expected to generate approximately $150 million in revenue on an annual run rate. We offer over 200 medical cannabis products, serving more than 500,000 registered patients worldwide. We have participated in more than 25 medical cannabis studies and clinical trials conducted in the U.S., Canada, Australia, Argentina, and across Europe, with leading hospitals, physicians addressing conditions such as pediatric epilepsy, cancer-related nausea, PTSD, chronic pain, anxiety, essential tremors, alcohol use disorders, glioblastomas, cannabinoid impairment, and driving performance. These initiatives reinforce Tilray's reputation as a science-driven, evidence-based medical cannabis company, and they underscore the trust placed in us by healthcare professionals, patients, and regulators globally. We also possess one of the largest banks of cannabis genetics, which we intend to study in order to support research on the endocannabinoid system and advance medical cannabis science further. Now let's turn to Q2 cannabis performance. Global cannabis revenue increased to $68 million. Our high-margin international cannabis business led the growth, increasing 36% year over year and 51% sequentially to $20 million, marking one of our strongest international quarters to date. And we fully expect this momentum to continue as we expand our global footprint. This performance is particularly notable given ongoing permit challenges, regulatory transitions in Portugal and Germany, and continued price compression, especially in flower. I'd like to acknowledge and thank the international team for their focused execution under these circumstances. I also want to recognize our Canadian cannabis team for their expertise, support, and supply contribution. Additionally, I appreciate the cooperation of Infomed and the Portuguese regulators in facilitating improvements to permitting approval timelines. Looking ahead, Europe, particularly Germany, the UK, and Poland, represents a significant growth opportunity for us. Execution will be driven by operational disciplines, including process improvement, automation, cross-functional coordination, and increased utilization at our cultivation facilities in Portugal and Germany, and utilizing our Canadian facilities. Tilray operates one of the largest cannabis footprints in Europe, which we're continuing to expand, and our advantage lies in scale, speed, to market data, driven decisions making, and experience gained from our Canadian operation. Moving on to Tilray Pharma and our distribution business. As discussed last quarter, we're expanding our pharmacy reach in Germany, utilizing Tilray Pharma expansive pharmacy network and salespeople, and expect to triple our medical cannabis distribution footprint in fiscal 2026. We remain on track to achieve these objectives. In terms of Q2 performance, revenue grew by 26% year over year and 15% sequentially to $85 million, making it our biggest quarter ever, while improving our gross margins. The increase in distribution revenue in the period was driven by competitive pricing, portfolio optimization, and an increased focus on medical device sales. Looking ahead, Tilray Pharma is laser focused on enhancing operational efficiency to support its commercial expansion into 3,000 additional pharmacies through strategic partnerships. As medical cannabis continues to expand globally, Tilray Pharma is positioned to play a significant role in our overall growth. By utilizing insights gained through integrating our medical operations, Tilray Pharma aims to strengthen its business value and create new growth opportunities within both the European medical market and the U.S. International markets remain one of Tilray's most compelling long-term growth drivers. As we expect, market opportunities, revenue, profitability continue to grow. In Canada, our cannabis business continues to reinforce its leadership position. During Q2, our adult use medical sales channel, net of excise tax, grew to $46 million, with recreational cannabis growing 6% in the quarter. Tilray continues to hold a leading market position in dried flower, non-infused pre-rolls, beverages, oils, and chocolate edibles. Our disciplined approach to product mix, margin management, and premium pricing has supported our strategic re-entry into the high-growth segments as vapes and infused pre-rolls, with a focus on accretive margins. In Q2, we advanced our innovation pipeline with the launch of Redecan Amp Live Resin Liquid Diamond Vapes, addressing consumers' demand for the full spectrum of cannabinoid strain-specific terpenes that deliver an authentic plant profile. This product combines 80% of live resin with 20% of liquid diamonds, maximizing potency while maintaining natural flavor integrity. In addition, we entered the Quebec market with vapes with the Good Supply brand, rapidly achieving a top 3 SKU position in the province while underscoring effective execution and strong consumer uptake. Operationally, we hit our highest quarterly volume in 2 years with over 5.5 million units shipped in Canada in Q2. We also completed our first harvest from a restarted.
Please tap the like button. It will share it out to more people. Some good news in this broadcast. If you are an investor, share it out, tap the like button.
With this extra biomass, our cannabis cultivation capacity rises to 200 metric tons annually. This boost not only allows us to provide high-quality products at reduced cost and improve our profit margin, but also helps us expand into fast-growing markets, supplying both Canadian and international customers, including those in Europe, to meet increasing global demand. The positive momentum of the past 2 quarters reflect the trajectory of Canadian cannabis business. With the right product mix, healthy margins, we're well positioned to elevate this business in the second half of 2026 and beyond. With rescheduling of cannabis in the U.S., now is the time for Canada to modernize its regulation and secure its position as a global cannabis leader, including excise tax reform, marketing flexibility, healthcare integration, and on-premise consumption. Without modernization, Canada risks becoming an exporter of raw products, while value creation, intellectual property, and long-term economic growth moves elsewhere. As a global policy accelerates, the choice is clear: modernize Canada's cannabis regulation to support economic competitiveness, consumer education, sustainable growth, or risk being left behind in an industry Canada helped to create. Prime Minister Carney, I hope you're listening to this call. The Canadian cannabis industry has generated a significant amount of jobs, contributed billions of dollars in tax revenue to both federal and provincial governments. However, the lack of regulatory reform is resulting in Canadian producers redirecting their investments and attention towards international markets where excise tax can be circumvented. Given the declining spirits industry in Canada, excise tax should be reduced. Cannabis drinks should be permitted in liquor stores and on-premise locations. Medical cannabis sales in drugstores would lower excise tax burden while boosting overall tax revenues as the industry grows. Turning to our beverage business in Q2, beverage revenue totaled $50 million. We continue to make progress executing our integration and optimization strategy. We delivered $27 million in annualized cost savings in the first half of the year and remain on track towards our $33 million target. We're making meaningful progress in improving performance. However, there's more to be done as we continue to integrate our brands, streamline operations, and optimize processes. We acquire brands with the understanding that significant improvements and comprehensive turnaround would be necessary, a process that is currently underway through our integration plan. We recognize this transformation will take time, and while we have not achieved all our objectives, we are on track and encouraged by the positive momentum gained so far. We look forward to the up-and-coming spring product resets with our retail partners and the introduction of some of the new innovations in the market. These changes are anticipated to have a positive impact on revenue in the fourth quarter. Our outlook may seem bullish, but conviction is essential for success, which remains our primary focus: revitalizing the craft beer category, making beer fun again, bringing people together, fostering meaningful connections, and generating long-term value for our shareholders. We've established brands, breweries, a major distribution system. Beer is here to stay and not going anywhere. Tilray aims to expand its regional, national, and global presence through strategic partnerships with leading U.S. and international brands. We expect to share more about this in the future, but we believe these partnerships validate the strength of our platform and our strategic vision. This approach also positions us for future opportunities should cannabis THC drinks become federally legal in the U.S. We're ready to produce and sell, as we're currently operating a leading THC beverage operation across Canada with over 45% of the THC beverage market share. Regarding our U.S. hemp-derived THC business, we continue to offer Fizzy Jane, Happy Flower hemp-derived THC beverages in 5 milligram and 10 milligram formats through nationwide retailer partnership. Distribution includes Nature Wine, liquor, grocery outlets across the country. While regulatory changes may affect HDD9 products after 2026, we anticipate compliant participation under new federal laws if it happens. We're also pursuing international growth by expanding our beverage business into new markets worldwide. We expect to leverage our future strategic partnerships. Our strategy for beverage abroad is evolving, with an emphasis on craft beer and non-alcoholic drinks, including energy beverages that meet the demands of consumers in this expanding sector, with brands such as Highball, our clean energy drink, Liquid Love, our sparkling water brand. Highball is set to launch in the UK in Q4, with the expansion plans also underway for the Middle East and Africa. Beyond non-alcoholic beverages and energy drinks, we continue to explore opportunities to build on our global craft beer segment. Tilray recently participated in the American Craft Beer Expo in Japan and gained valuable insight, which the team will pursue in the future. Rounding out our beverage strategy, we're also focused on expanding our non-alcoholic beverages in the U.S. and across international markets. Our recent innovations, including non-alc beers under Montauk, 10 Barrel, and our non-alc ready-to-drink canned beverages and distilled spirits, including Mach 1. Within the spirits category, despite market challenges in Q2, we focus on enhancing our commercial strategy, resulting in a 9.2% increase in depletions across vodka, bourbon, and gin, with vodka leading by double digits for the quarter. While the Bronco seasonal release sold out rapidly, our ongoing efforts remain focused on expanding product distribution to additional states and beyond. With 5 years' experience in the beverage alcohol industry, we remain confident in our future trajectory as we continue to enhance operational efficiency. Now turning to our wellness business, we generate a revenue of $14.6 million, driven by a strategic focus on value-added innovation, including high-protein super seeds, better-for-you breakfast products, better-for-you snacking, and the continued success of our Highball clean energy drinks. Within our ingredient sales business, we've expanded our range of offerings in hemp protein, hemp oil, helping us further develop our business in North America and Asia. Our hemp food business remains fully insulated from proposed hemp THC regulation, as these products contain zero THC and are broadly distributed across mainstream retail. In closing, we are confident in Tilray's trajectory for the second half of fiscal 2026 and beyond. With a diversified, scalable platform, improving fundamentals, strong liquidity, regulatory tailwinds developing globally, Tilray is well positioned to capitalize on the next phase of growth across cannabis, beverage, and wellness products. Thank you to our shareholders for your continued support and confidence in Tilray's long-term strategy. I will now turn the call over to Carl to walk through our financial results in more detail. Carl, are you ready?
Thank you, Irwin. Before I begin, please note that we present our financials in accordance with U.S. GAAP and in U.S. dollars. Throughout our discussions, we will be referring to both GAAP and non-GAAP adjusted results, and we encourage you to review the reconciliation contained within the press release of our reported results under GAAP with the corresponding non-GAAP measures. This quarter, we are reporting record second quarter net revenue and strong year-over-year improvements in profitability, and we are reaffirming our full year 2026 adjusted EBITDA guidance. Net revenue for the quarter was a record $217.5 million. Revenue growth was primarily driven by strong results in our international operations, both international cannabis and Tilray Pharma. Additionally, Canadian adult use revenue grew year over year. Cannabis net revenue increased year over year to $67.5 million during the quarter, driven by a strong 36% increase in revenue from international cannabis and a 6% increase in Canadian adult use cannabis. The continued year-over-year growth in our international cannabis business reinforces our view that Q1 results were temporarily affected by the timing of import and export permits. As a result, Q4 2025 and Q2 of this year provide a more accurate reflection of our ongoing performance expectations for the duration of the fiscal year. With the continued growth of international cannabis, we deliberately chose to scale back supply into the Canadian wholesale market in the quarter and redeploy that supply, along with new growth, into the higher margin international cannabis markets over the remainder of the year. Beverage net revenue for the quarter was $50.1 million. Beverage revenue was impacted by category-wide headwinds in the craft beer segment and our own portfolio optimization efforts under Project 420, where SKU rationalization and margin-focused initiatives continued to impact revenue. However, we expect spring retailer product resets to help mitigate industry trends. These upcoming changes should improve brand visibility and align product mix with consumer preferences, which we expect to benefit beverage revenue and gross margins in the fourth fiscal quarter. Wellness net revenue was flat year over year at $14.6 million, based on our strategic focus on value-added innovation and continued growth in highball and the ingredient channel. Results were offset by challenges in the club retail channel, which we are addressing through targeted initiatives. Distribution net revenue increased 26% year over year to $85.3 million, based on our focus on competitive pricing, the prioritization of high-margin SKUs, and favorable impacts from foreign exchange. We believe our distribution business will continue to complement and strengthen our international cannabis segment as we grow both in tandem. In terms of contribution, cannabis revenue accounted for 31% of revenue, beverage revenue was 23%, distribution was 39%, and wellness accounted for the final 7%. Gross profit during the quarter was $57.5 million, and gross margin for the quarter was 26%. While margins increased in cannabis, distribution, and wellness, margin constriction in the beverage segment negatively impacted the gross margin for the quarter. By segment, beverage gross margin reached 31% this quarter. While this represents a temporary decrease from last year, we are confident that the ongoing implementation of Project 420 will deliver significant improvements while also actively working on additional cost savings to improve overhead utilizations as well as SG&A. As these initiatives progress and sales volumes recover, we anticipate stronger overhead utilization and a return to higher margins. Importantly, we remain on track to achieve $33 million in annualized cost savings from Project 420 by the fourth quarter of 2026, positioning our beverage segment for long-term success. Cannabis gross margin increased to 39% compared to 35% last year. The increase was due to a greater proportion of sales being generated in the higher margin international markets, but was offset by increased sales in lower margin, price competitive categories in the Canadian adult use market, like vapes and pre-rolls. Distribution gross margin increased to 13%, up from 12% last year, while continuing to grow top-line revenue. In wellness, gross margin rose to 32% from 31% as we successfully managed input costs and enhanced operational efficiencies. Our adjusted cash operating income for the quarter was positive $6 million, which excludes the non-cash impacts of amortization and stock-based compensation. Net loss for the quarter was $43.5 million, a 49% improvement year over year compared to $85.3 million, or 41 cents per share compared to 99 cents per share. It should be noted that EPS was impacted tenfold by the reverse stock split and has been reflected in both periods. Adjusted EBITDA for the quarter was $8.4 million compared to $9 million last year. Cash flow used in operations was down to $8.5 million compared to $40.7 million last year. The $32.2 million improvement in cash used in operations was almost entirely related to reductions in working capital. We ended the quarter with cash and cash equivalents and marketable securities of $291.6 million, $0.8 million in digital assets, and improved from a net debt position of approximately $4 million in the prior quarter to a net cash position of almost $30 million at the end of the period. Additionally, during the quarter, we also completed our ATM program in the market. Our strong cash position provides us with the flexibility we need to execute on strategic opportunities and take advantage of the changing regulatory landscape, and we intend to work to further strengthen our balance sheet throughout the remainder of the year. Finally, we remain confident in our business, our strategy, and our opportunity, and we are reaffirming our 2026 adjusted EBITDA guidance of $62 to $72 million. We can now open the call for Q&A.
Thank you. We will now be conducting a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. A confirmation tone will indicate your line is in the question queue. You may press star 2 if you would like to remove your question from the queue. For participants using speaker equipment, it may be necessary to pick up your handset before pressing the star keys. One moment, please, while we poll for questions. Thank you. The first question comes from the line of Bill Kirk with Roth Capital Partners. Please proceed.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. On the intoxicating hemp ban for November implementation, is there anything, Irwin, that the industry can do to try to help improve the regulatory outcome? Is there any way to kind of extend the grace period, reverse the ban, carve out particular categories? Like, what can you do, or what can the industry do to get a better outcome there?
Good afternoon, and thank you, Bill. Great question. As you know, this for us was a growing business, and there is a lot of demand for these products. And we are working with some congressmen, senators, lobbyists to either extend the deadline or to change some of the regulatory that would have a regulated amount of milligrams, whether it's 5 or 10 milligrams, and to be sold on a national basis. And I tell you, so far, I have a really good feeling because, we're talking to the different associations other than Senator McConnell and whoever backed him. There's no one out here against this and thinks this is something that should be banned.
Thank you. And then
the other thing, Bill, just the other thing, I mean, there's a lot of jobs that will be lost if this happens, which is something very important too.
Yeah, for sure. Carl, you had some comments about holding back supply and shifting it into international markets. Am I hearing that right, that would mean sales that could have been in this quarter simply come later? And is there a way to quantify how much was held back?
So what I said was that we held back from the Canadian wholesale market at lower pricing than what we did in the prior year. And so last year we did about $5 million. We obviously have the inventory levels that we have that are on the balance sheet that we could have that we can redeploy into European markets over the next 6 months of this year.
So it's just redeploying better margin sales, Bill, where we can sell it into Europe and get much higher margin for it than selling it into the wholesale market where we don't get the margins, and in some cases we're even selling to competitors. So that's what it is.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Thank you. I'll jump back in the queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Robert Moscow with TD Securities. Please proceed.
Hi, this is Victor Ma on for Rob Moscow. Thank you for the questions. 2 for me, please. First, I wanted to ask about Canadian adult use cannabis. Growth in the quarter was about 6%. How much of that was volume growth versus price mix? Did you gain market share in the quarter?
Obamacare extension bill underway.
What drove
25 seconds ago.
In distribution
Yay,
sales?
215, 139. This is the result live here.
Thank you.
So number one, absolutely, there was not price. Some of it came from new distribution. If anything, there was a strike in British Columbia that ultimately
the bill is
hurt
passed 217 to 148.
Share, not a lot.
There you go.
In the quarter. So it's demand. I think there's a lot we did in different markets. A lot of our new products started to roll out, and so that was the big reason from our growth, having supply. And I think just, the team, has done a great job. This is the highest quarter in selling of units, 5.5 million units that we sold in the quarter. So again, if anything, throughout the rest of the prior years, we saw lots of price compression. I think the good news is we're not seeing that price compression right now, but we're seeing demand continuously grow, and we're seeing, all the Tilray different brands growing in the marketplace. And again, what I'm talking about is all our products. It's our flowers, our pre-rolls, our edibles, our vapes, our infused vapes, and our drinks. Oh, sorry. In regards to CC Pharma, listen, I think, CC Pharma has been part of Tilray, since 2019. And trying to figure out what is the right position is one of our largest business. And, the European team, and with the growth and the opportunities in Germany, have realized a couple things. Number one, they're selling into pharmacies today. We're using the CC Pharma team to sell cannabis also into the pharmacy and also to deliver. The other thing is this here, we're able from our buying power and, get better margins and demand for regular medicines. And we're seeing some great growth. It's the biggest quarter we've ever had with CC Pharma and some of the most profitable quarters we've ever had. So we're looking at how we really take this business for online. We're looking at how we're going to expand this business and take this model into other countries. And again, it's how we utilize the sales organization of CC Pharma, or now named Tilray Pharma, and using that organization to sell more and more cannabis into the drugstores that it sells into.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Aaron Gray with Alliance Global Partners. Please proceed.
Good evening. Thank you for the questions. First one for me, you mentioned the expectation for Tilray Global Medical to approach $150 million, I believe. So just any color you could provide maybe on the timing of that expectation. And then you also mentioned some commentary briefly regarding potential regulatory changes in Germany as well as pricing pressure. So could you help to maybe quantify how big a risk you're seeing from each of those potentially for 2026? Thanks.
So in regards to, listen, I think from an annualized basis, right now we're on a run rate for that $150 million, and that is both Canada and international markets, okay? And, the majority of that is coming from international markets. In regards to, regulatory change, not seeing and not concerned with regulatory changes in Europe and Germany. And I think if anything, we like what has ultimately come out of the German government. And in regards to, demand, we see more and more demand. As far as price compression, and you heard what I said before, and this is where Canada better watch out. You look at a lot of the Canadian LPs, there's a lot more of the Canadian LPs, there's Israeli companies, there's a lot more companies selling product today into Germany. But Tilray has been in Germany since 2019, 2020 with Tilray Medical. We are the only one, or one of the only ones with a grow facility there. And we work very, very closely with the doctors in Germany. You heard what I said before about having Tilray Pharma, where we are vertically integrated from our grow with our salespeople and have our own distribution piece there. So yes, a lot of product coming into Germany, which forces price compression, but what they're going to realize is the quality of product. You get what you pay for. And I think that's what's important is they recognize that the Tilray medical products stand for quality.
I appreciate that. Second question for me, just turning back to the Canadian market, we had some commentary. More broadly, just want to get some color in terms of what are your expectations for growth within the Canadian market? Looks like we finished about mid-single digit growth for 2025. So what's your expectation now for 2026? You talked about some of the strong volumes there, but it does seem like volume growth, has tempered a bit despite pricing pressure stabilizing for the Canadian market. So wanted to hear more about your expectations for growth in the Canadian market and if a slowdown in growth also led to your decision to shift some of that product international. Thanks.
Well, first of all, it didn't slow down in growth. I had a 6% growth and I had the highest quarter ever in selling units, okay? I think one of the things we're continuously looking at is how we grow this to more and more profitable business. And we could sell tons of wholesale product, and that's considered growth, but we're not going to do that. But, what we're looking continuously at is how we're coming out with added value products and premium products. And today we have a 50% share, on our drinks, which continuously is growing in the demand in that marketplace. We also, have the highest share of flower, in the marketplace. We sell over 80 million pre-rolls. We sort of backed away from the vape category because of the margins, and we're not making money on it. So I see the categories, from us, if I get mid to high single digit growth, I'll be very, very happy that in the Canadian market. Now, with that, I got to tell you, Blair's on the phone, and he can jump in here anytime. I have seen some of the best lineup of new products coming out that this company has ever had. And I think that's going to help. New products are key. The other thing is, listen, the border and that British Columbia had a strike. And I think if other Canadian LPs decide they want to sell product in Europe, it's just going to be supply. Tilray today has close to 7 million square feet of grow in Canada and has the ability to grow 270 metric tons. I think the number in the quarter is we grow close to 200 metric tons. So we have plenty of supply. And not only that is we have supply and ample, product available to ship internationally, which is we're not paying excise tax and much higher margins for. So the opportunities are there for us. Canada's a small country, but it's a country where cannabis is legal, from a recreational, from a federal standpoint, is the only country in the world. And there's more and more users are seeing the benefit of buying cannabis by going into federally legal cannabis stores.
That's helpful color. Thanks for that, Irwin. I'll jump back in the queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Pablo Zuanic with Zuanic & Associates. Please proceed.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Look, let me start with CC Pharma. Maybe you can give more color on that business. I think in the past, you said that you reached 13,000 pharmacies. Now you're talking about tripling your distribution reach. I'm trying to understand that better. And also, if the new regulations in Germany stop delivery, your CC Pharma reach could be a big asset in terms of pharmacy reach. Would you be willing to also sell other people's products besides Tilray brand through CC Pharma? Thanks.
So number one, as I said, we've owned CC Pharma since 2019, Pablo, and it was finding the right way to operate this business. And originally we acquired it as part of tenders for Germany. And we've been a part of the German drugstore business in Germany since then. We have now changed a lot within CC Pharma, where we've ultimately modernized, we've put money into technology there, we've taken labor costs out of there, we've been able to, buy medicines and regular medicines from, some of the pharmaceutical companies at much better prices and made some big investments. And I'll tell you, that is we're out there buying medicines and making sure we're buying them at the right price and selling them at a lot higher margins. So we have focused on that business. But back to your point, is today we have the ability to go into more and more pharmacies. And CC Pharma or Tilray Pharma has its own sales organization. And you don't see today medical cannabis sales go through CC Pharma. It goes through our medical cannabis business internationally. So there is a big focus to use that sales organization to sell more and more medical cannabis in Germany. And with that, with the regulations and everybody has to go direct to a pharmacy and can't buy online, there's, bigger opportunities for us because more, patients have to visit the pharmacy. The second question is, would I sell other, companies' product? A great question. We're in the business to sell and make profit. But again, why would we want to sell someone else's products if we can deliver, what the needs are for patients? But again, some patients may want some other competitors' products, and it's something we should look at, from a standpoint, does it make sense for us to carry some other products? I don't know. And that's not something we've looked at, but it's something we definitely should look at.
Okay, thank you. And then just to follow up in terms of beverages, obviously this quarter you had very strong performance in cannabis, but a steep decline in sales in beer and profit margins. Maybe just give more color in terms of what is it that has not worked there. You talked about positive momentum, but the numbers don't show that momentum. And why put so much hope on just the spring resets? I mean, is it just about that? I mean, more color would help. And then just long-term, a reminder about your confidence that the beer business really fits your cannabis strategy longer term, or they just play together and we should think of them as a diversified portfolio anyway. Thanks.
So number one, there's many, many companies out there that have diversified business portfolios. And if you look at most companies, some have food, some have personal care, some have beverages. You look at Pepsi, they have snacks, they have food, they have drinks. You look at other companies, they have personal care, they have food. So I think it's important to be a diversified consumer packaged goods company, which we are, and we're, Tilray Brands. I come back and look at, we got in the beer business in late 2020, COVID came along, with our first acquisition of Sweetwater and then, multiple acquisitions. It's taken us time to integrate these businesses. We went from only one plant to 10 plants. Now we're down to 8. We went from only one brand to 18 brands. We went from probably being the 10th or 11th largest, craft brewer, now down to the 4th largest craft brewer. So there's a lot that's happened over the last 4 to 5 years. And with that, there's been a lot of integrations. And these brands that we bought from ABI and from Molson's, they were not some of the best performing brands at the time, and it took some time to turn them around. So yes, I have a lot of confidence. Listen, beer is not going away. Beverages is not going away. And just like CC Pharma, here we are from a vertical integrated business. We have manufacturing, we have brands, we have a distribution, we have an infrastructure, salespeople. And it is taking probably some more time. And the other thing is, at the same time, the industry has had its decline. But I'll tell you what, as you come back and see a lot, potentially will happen in regards to Delta-9 and hemp-infused drinks. And who are they looking at to be the leader in that is Tilray, because of our beverage business and our cannabis business. I say this, and I'm not making projections, but if I could sell cannabis-infused drinks in the U.S. tomorrow. If I, look what I have a 50% share in Canada, and I multiply that, from a 10 times what I would have here, it's a $500 million business for us here. And someday we're going to be able to sell drinks in the U.S. infused with something. And whether it's CBD and cannabis, in regards to, President Trump new rescheduling, in regards to drinks that will get approved by the FDA for whether it's for anxiety, for pain, for sleep, etc. So the infrastructure is there for future opportunities, which is important. But to the point, we're in the beverage business today. We're in the beer business. We're in the energy drink business. We're in the water business. We're in vodka seltzers business. And I'll tell you what, the other thing is this here. There's a lot of companies talking to us involved to get us involved with different aspects of beverages because of what we have and how we're vertically integrated. So yes, am I totally, doing a dance with our results today coming out of there? No. But do I feel good about what we will do with this business and what we'll do with these brands? Absolutely, and what our strategy is. Unfortunately, it just has taken a little more time. And if you go back and look at the big companies, Molson's, ABI, Constellation Brands, they weren't created within 5 years. And it's, basically 5 years, and we're number 4 within the craft beer business. A lot of brands have gone away in the craft beer business, which gives more and more opportunities. So I am real bullish on the beverage business. And if you look in the supermarkets today and you look, elsewhere, beverage is the biggest category out there. And I think, Pablo, the big thing, we are not just depending upon the resets that are happening in the next 2 months. Gaining share in C-stores, gaining share on premise, gaining share in general. And that's what I'm, excited about.
That's great, color. Thank you. Look, if I may, I'm going to squeeze one more if you don't mind. But just a short answer. In your press release, you talk about U.S. federally rescheduling cannabis. But I think my understanding and most people's understanding would be that if they reschedule, it will still be a state-by-state program. It will not be federally rescheduled. But I guess your interpretation that it will be federally rescheduled. And I think that's a big distinction. Do you want to just share some color on that? But just briefly. Thank you.
Our plan is what I've said. If a reschedule, what we're focused on, and I think a lot of other companies are focused on recreational, we are focused on medical cannabis. And our plan is to leverage the infrastructure and expertise and know-how that we've developed, that we got a $150 million business in Tilray today. And, with that, our $300 million distribution platform is something that we utilize in Europe. And how do we ultimately do that here? And again, engage, with the outreach of the government, with the FDA, and with our working with hospitals, working with research, doing clinical studies. And that's what we're looking to do there in regards to our U.S. entry into Tilray U.S. Not looking at it today of how we do state by state from a recreational standpoint, and ultimately what are we going to do? And we have so much research in pain, anxiety, cancer-related drugs, cancer anti-vomiting drugs, PTSD, and taking that science and taking those and taking our genetics and strains and working with hospitals and potentially strategically aligning with a pharma company to execute that within the U.S. is what we're looking to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our last question comes from the line of Federico Gomez with ATB Capital Markets. Please proceed.
Hi, thanks for taking my questions. Just the first question, just go back to the rescheduling comment there, with potential rescheduling in the U.S. I'm just curious, does that change the way you see potential investments in the state legal cannabis businesses like you've done in the past with Madman?
No, it doesn't anything with the state. But again, as I said, Tilray is committed to invest in research. Tilray is committed to invest in clinicals. Tilray is committed to working with the FDA, the DEA, is coming up with approved cannabis drugs that can be used and sold for some of the conditions that I mentioned before. But it's not, state by state where we're looking at recreational. We are totally looking at this from a total medical standpoint.
Got it. Thank you. And then just second question, international cannabis. Could you help us understand, outside of Germany, what are the main international markets you have right now? And do you anticipate any other international market where, we could see some sort of regulatory change, near term this year that could lead to growth like we saw in Germany since April 2024?
So listen, there's Poland, there's today Italy markets, there's the UK markets. We're looking at oils for France and Spain. And I will tell you this here, without going into names and countries, there's a lot of stuff happening in the Middle East in regards to working with CBD and THC from a Middle East standpoint. There's some stuff and testing going on in India in regards to hemp and hemp-infused THC products. So again, and I will say this here, and that's why I thank President Trump from a rescheduling standpoint. Rescheduling cannabis from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 has opened up the eyes and the legality of a lot of other countries here. And I think that's what was important too. Once the U.S. did it, there's a lot of other countries now are saying this stuff is not taboo. It's something that's really benefit and can be really helpful in a lot of different diseases and can be very helpful as a medicine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to pass the call back over to management for any closing remarks.
Thank you very much, operator, and thank you very much for everybody joining us today. As you can see, there's a lot happening at Tilray. And as a diversified consumer packaged goods company that today sells products into the recreational cannabis market in Canada, sells medical cannabis in Canada, sells drinks in Canada, sells beverages in the U.S., spirits, and our hemp-infused, our hemp foods, our wellness products, and then our international products with our international medical products and our Tilray Pharma. So there's a lot within Tilray today. There's a lot of science, there's a lot of research, there's a lot of genetics that we're doing. And as a 5-6-year-old company today that's really pulling this all together, and there's no one out there today that is diversified like us. One of our strengths is our balance sheet. It's, we're in a net cash position. So we're able to invest in research, we're able to invest in trials, we're able to invest in clinicals today. So you can't look at us today as a recreational cannabis company. You can't look at us as just a beer company. And you got to look at us today as a consumer company that looks at products and looks at different ways to help bring consumers together, help bring people together. And that is some of the stuff we're doing. At the end of the day, as you can see what we've done this quarter in regards to our profitability for our shareholders. And again, it's been 5 years and putting this together piece by piece, and there's a lot to do. The question asked by Pablo in regards to our beverage business. Yes, there's a lot to do in the acquisitions that we've done. And one of the proofs is here. Look at the acquisitions we've done on cannabis as we put these cannabis facilities and brands together, took out costs, integrated the businesses, and we're seeing, the performance of that today. It's no different. We've really only got into the international cannabis business over the last year or so, and that's on the run rate to be a $100 million business. So there's a lot to do within Tilray. There's a lot of great assets within Tilray, whether it's facilities, whether it's brands, whether it's distribution, whether it's know-how. And there's a lot of AI coming into Tilray today to help us implement a lot of what's happening. I appreciate, those that have stayed with us as shareholders. I know there's times you're frustrated, and there's times probably I'm frustrated more than you are. But I do see a good path with a lot that's happening coming together. I got to tell you, we deal with a tough regulatory environment out there. We pay some of the highest excise tax in Canada, and I hope Prime Minister Carney heard me how important this industry is for the Canadian market, the jobs it created, the tax dollars, and we don't want to see this run away from Canada. I commend President Trump for rescheduling. He was the first president that really took this on. Everybody else sort of ran away from it. And it's up to us now to show what this really can do. So thank you very much for getting on our call today, and Happy New Year to everybody.
There we go. I hope you enjoyed our first earnings call of the season. We hope to bring you we will be bringing you many more earnings like this. This is just the first one. So thank you very much, guys. What we learned tonight was not a great deal we didn't already know. The stock did pop up. It went up and down a few times. It's held up. I wouldn't be buying this. I think it's not the right time to buy it. It was very interesting. It's what I wanted to hear, that Owen Simon was able to say, we are ready and prepared. That's what I've been talking about. Are they able to adapt to the upcoming changes and rescheduling? They are. At least that's what he said. Remember, he's a CEO. He's also a cheerleader. He wants to get you to buy the stock, right? I mean, you can hear that in his frustration that the stock is this low, because it could be $40 and it could run up to $100 with full reclassification. Now you can buy it here if you want to. It's not bad, but we could be years away. And you can see how much money you can make while you're waiting for a stock to go up. Parking your money and waiting for years is never a good idea. I've shown that example of that over and over again. It's why I'd rather buy it at $50 knowing it's going to 100 than guessing. It's Donald Trump has signed an executive order. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. There's lots to do. But he's right. It looks favorable, but it could take years. Hopefully it won't, but he's ready for action. So you've got some good sentiment there, and he's right when he spoke about the balance sheet, which is why I talk about Tilray Brands. It has a good balance sheet. It's the leader, like Enphase is the leader in solar. Coca-Cola is the leader in bottling, NVIDIA, AI, and all these things. So it's got a great balance sheet. It's well prepared. So you can park your money here now, wait, or just invest and come back when you know, because you still haven't got anything. Remember, if we get any word whatsoever that there's a stumbling block in the legal procedure, boom, we're straight back down again. So you need to remember that. It can go straight back down again. Remember, we've had splits on this company, so you've seen it a lot lower, and you think, oh, it's quite good at $9. Remember, it's had splits, so it's not as healthy as it looks. It looks better than it is. So it's not, for me, I wouldn't be buying this right now. People think, oh, great, but if you actually zoom out, that's what you got. That's what you got if you zoom out. All right. If you zoom out, that is what you've got. Okay. It's down 88%, and it's been flat now for ages. So it's not as exciting as it first appears. So it's up to you. You might think, I like the idea, and you've heard some good stuff tonight. Other than Trump now's executive order, there's not much more you've learned from tonight. Everything else we already knew. It's already in the budget. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. What we're going to do now is hand you over to the extra channel. Please stay where you are. It'll automatically take you there. I'd love you to support me on the extra channel. This runs 24 hours a day. I'm replaying today's streams, what you've heard today. So for those of you who've missed things, there is a replay of today's streams. Click on that. It's live chat. You can see Vaz is in there. Vaz is in there having a conversation. We've got Eagle Gene in there. Eugene is in there as well. So if you want to watch what you've missed today, get a replay of what you've missed, but live chat, talk to the Lucasades. That's what the extra channel is all about. Let me just read a couple of comments before I go. Rescheduling is huge for bank. Yes, it is. Thanks for streaming this, Martin. You're very welcome. High Energy Investments. Did I see you at I see you had a X video you tagged me in earlier. I think I wished you good luck to that. Thank you for that. Think I'll buy some more under 9. It will go. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will go straight back down again in a minute. Go back to $13. Yeah, not up yet. KC, Martin, can you explain what the splits do? How they impact the balance sheet? Good question. So essentially what you've got, Casey, when a company go below $1, they fall below compliance of the SEC rules of the NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, whatever. Your stock has to be above $1. Otherwise, it goes on the pink sheets. It goes over the counter, like in The Wolf of Wall Street, right? When you're selling to the postman. So for a company to remain on the stock market, in the New York stock market as a publicly traded company, you need to remain above $1. So when the share price goes down, people keep selling and selling and selling. They've got two options. Do nothing. They get removed from the index. That's not good. Or you can do what's called a reverse split. So you suddenly have 10 times as many shares, or 10 times less shares, should I say. So they all go up 10 by 10 times, or 20 times less shares. So they all go up by 20 times. I think this one, if I remember correctly, had a reverse 10 times split. So $1 went to $10 overnight. What does that mean for the balance sheet? That was your question. Absolutely nothing. The company is not worth any more money. Like I said before, if I have a business, I have one share at $100, or I have 100 shares at $100, at $1 each, or I have 1,000 shares at 1 cent each, or 10 cents each. It's exactly the same value of the business. It just keeps them compliant. However, it does confuse some people because they go, wow, look at the stock's up. It's now $10. It seems more attractive. It's not more attractive. You've now got 10 shares where you had 1 before, or you've got 1 where you had 10 before. Right. Now there is another split called a forward split. That's a good split. When a company becomes their stock price becomes too large, it puts retail investors off, because not everybody can fractional share. Not everyone can buy $1 of a share. Like Berkshire Hathaway, for example, you can buy $1 of a share, but people go, I don't want to buy it. It's $30,000. I can't afford the share. Well, if you can fractional share, it makes a difference. You can buy $1 of the share, and 1% of $1 is the same as 1% of 30,000. It's still 1%, right? So if your share price becomes too big, you could forward split. So you could go the other way. You could go the other way, where you provide more shares at a lower price. Again, the same value overall to the company, but you just divide them up. Another reason why you do it is for options, because remember, to make up an option, you need 100 shares, which makes a contract. So if you've got 100 shares of Berkshire Hathaway, you're never going to do an option, are you? You'd have to be a multi-millionaire to do an option on a multi-billionaire, actually, to be able to, no, at least a multi-millionaire, to be able to do options and contracts on Berkshire. So they do a forward split, so it makes it more accessible to retail and options traders. That's what the splits are for. So in Tilray Brands' case, it was a reverse split to remain compliant on the index. That's why they did it. Without that, they'd be off the index, and now no one's buying it, and now it's down the toilet. Reverse splits are never good, though. It shows weakness. It shows that the stock is being sold off. It shows that the management couldn't get the stock price up with either buybacks or being able to just be successful, a reverse split is never good. And 9 times out of 10, it ends badly for the company if you start reverse splitting. And we saw it happen many times with Fisker, and in the end, and Mullen was doing it every few weeks. Dave Mitchery, a total scam stock. It was reverse splitting every few months, and it was just ridiculous. Anyway, so we've had it on here, and this is what it is. Does that make sense? Thank you. You're welcome. Makes a lot of sense. Great. Like Nvidia did. There you go. Nvidia. Did they do a reverse or a forward? I don't remember. Forward split. Yeah, good. Reverse split, bad. That's right. Forward split, good. Reverse split, bad. Yeah, I could have just said that, couldn't I? Revved up by, high energy investments. I should have just said that, shouldn't I? All right, that's it from me. Thank you very much. A great day. I hope you all enjoyed it. Stay where you are. Please now visit the extra channel so you can get a repeat of the day. If you just want to mute it, it supports the channel. It helps us grow because it promotes what we're doing. It helps the channel earn money. So if you just want to mute it, let it run in the background, have a little screen running. You are a Lucas aid and you're really helping the channel grow. Just let it do its thing in the background. During the call, I was taking a lot of notes. I was also in correspondence with Coca-Cola as well. I was sending some emails to the investor team. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you back in the morning. Friday, we have the music show. So there you go. I'm out of here. Another great day today on the market. One of my best ever days. 14 grand up. I'm not really selling anything at all. A little trim, but really nothing at all. I want to take the stock to, I want to get 10,000 shares of Coca-Cola and take it to $1 million, from $5,000 to $1 million live on the show, which I will do. I'm way ahead of schedule on that mission. All right, that's it from me. Thank you ever so much indeed. I'll see you back in the morning. I've given you the link for the extra channel. I've just put it in the chat. Please click on it. It's pinned to the top, or it'll take you there automatically. Let it replay. If you just want to support the channel, have a tab open on a spare device, or you can tune in and chat to the audience. I'll be in there. Ask me questions. Watch what you've missed today as other viewers around the world tune in. That's it from me. Thank you very much indeed. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye for now.